interesting thing, the only time where Yuka has not been the slowest was in Saiho 2, and that's because there was a character in a giant war spaceship. So the only thing that moves slower than Yuka is like a slow giant space station.
And she defeats that with Power Flower. Yeah, she just controls power, that's weird. And it also introduces Alice, which is one of the recurring characters that comes back in the Windows games. And all the game takes place in Makai, which is also a thing that won't be revisited for a long time until 12. It also has the extra stage has its own ending. And this is the last game that was produced for PC98 for the Toho series, so it's the most polished game of them all. It's really good, the sound is really good too, and that's about that.
So after Mystic Square, there was kind of a dead period until YoSD came out in 2002. As soon as 6 came out, production of these games stopped. But PC98 has not completely ended, because the next thing we'll be talking about is returning characters. We have 4. Now, Rainbow and Marissa, there's not that much to say about their changes. Obviously, there was physical changes and design choices. That's not a very big change in my opinion. Marissa has come a long way from being a lackey, pretty much, villain's lackey. But it's really Yuka and Alice we have to look at, because it's clear that he wanted to keep the characters around, but a lot of their background gets retconned, because, you know, you have Alice come back, and she does make a very small comment of "you should know me," but there's no mention of her Makai past. She now has a house near to Marissa's. We don't know when she bought that. And obviously, design-wise, immensely different. Yuka is possibly even worse, because Dream Palace? What Dream Palace? I'm living in Sunflower Field now. And the whole introduction of flowers as her power and her being, I suppose, the Flower Master of 4 Seasons was completely introduced with the Windows games. And there aren't that many similarities with her original self other than design. Oh, and this is completely pointless, but my favorite part of Yuka in the PC98 games is when you use her bomb and she's twirling a baton. I'd like to see the return of the baton.
She's also the first one that used the Master Spark. She's the one that introduces that, and in the game, you really can't see that coming. Just, oh, there's a small line, boom, you're dead.
Bringing up the Master Spark is one way that these games live on is Zune has revisited a lot of the pattern types, especially a lot of people reacted to seeing Byakuren using Shinki's attack. And obviously, it was kind of, you know, a nice throwback, because you're back in Makai, and it's, oh no, why that one? I didn't like dodging that one in 5. Why do I have to do it again?
Oh, no, so stage 5 and 12, you might see that there's also the...
Oh, and that's, for those who are wondering, it's Devil's Recitation I'm talking about.
Yeah, but in stage 5, they also brought back the bullets that were in the stage that you see Mystic Square. It's just, before the bullets, they just pop out and just a small pattern, just throw you out. It's kind of like an excellent throwback they did just that stage. And then they throw Kirby lasers at you.
Now, obviously these games are still very popular. Obviously, we like them, or else we wouldn't be hosting this panel. So they're still very much played. The characters still have active fan bases. I see a Mima in the audience. And a lot of, if you want to see these characters coming back, they're still included in a lot of doujin works. Obviously, there are a lot of Dojin artists who write about these characters. They've been included in a lot of Dojin games, notably Touhou Mother, Touhoumon, Touhou Soccer.
Oh, yeah, Touhou Soccer.
Yumemi's shot in Touhou Soccer is wonderful.
Oh, yeah, and that's when that Nima uses. Nima basically blew up the moon with a giant spark to hit the ball. You see the moon blowing up with a big laser on Earth, hitting the ball.
But there's at least 3 characters who damage the moon, so I'm not sure how that's special. Everyone hates the moon.
Everyone hates the moon, or the way that, or do something. Or you see Yumi using a giant robot made of chairs to hit the ball.
Yes, that was the one.
Folding chairs. Because that was a running gag in the game.
Yeah. A very bizarre place these characters show up that's I find is interesting is some of the trading card games have begun featuring cards of the PC98 characters. And this is interesting from a licensing position because very few circles have gone in the permission to make garage kits of the PC98 characters, and it has never gone beyond, for those who are, a garage kit is like a figurine made kind of amateur by a Dojin circle that you have to build yourself. So a couple garage kits have been licensed, but no like proper merchandise. But the TCG, which is owned by a very big company, has started putting out cards, which kind of opens up possibilities. A huge issue in the fan base is these characters returning. Zune has commented on this, and his official comment was, I won't say no, it's a possibility, but don't expect it to happen. Because he thinks that older characters showing up kind of all willy-nilly in new games is just out of place. So he didn't immediately shut down the question, but it's highly unlikely, especially since there hasn't been a return since Phantasmagoria Flower View, that these characters will really come back. We can cross our fingers, but what I have seen instead is a lot of the characters are having their roles slowly replaced. You know, Yumeko doesn't really have a role with Sakuya there. You know, we had Chiuri, a cute sailor. We now have Murasa, a cute sailor. And for those of you who have played 14 already, Reiko looks a lot like Rika, and they're both extra bosses, so I have my little theory there that it may be kind of a tribute to Rika. Obviously, I know there's probably the need to distance from these characters because, you know, they were made as part of a group, and he now works solo. Oh, and obviously musical remixes all the time, they're wonderful.
Not for so long because we have to clear the room.
I don't think it would be good to start that simply because looking at the time, we should be starting to clear out so that the next group of panelists can set up. I'm sorry. Though. Yeah. Yeah, it's on Friday.
But the games, we are trying to install the games in the video game room. We have a station that's mixed with the Dojin station. We have not tested them yet, but we'll try to get them working for anybody who wants to try them.
So yes, there are PC98 games. You can go and play them if you've never played them before. They are all great games. They're very fun. They may not be as polished as the new games are, but oh god, they have spirit.
God forbid.
That too, that too. So before we close this, does anyone has another question, a last question?
Where do you guys download the games? Do you have a particular website?
They're pretty easy to find. I cannot really recommend this because it's technically illegal, but you should be able to find them easily.
just Google and you should be able to find it.
All right.
That's about it.
That's it.
Thank you. For those who would be interested, we have a tournament of Phantasmagoria Flower View, Turbo 9, starting up in 10 minutes. So those of you who want to participate, meet us in the video game room.